Welcome to the Astana Times YouTube channel. I'm Aida Haidar, and in today's broadcast, we'll explore the latest news in Kazakhstan. Let's dive into it. Last week, Kazakhstan and Turkey took their strategic partnership to a new level. President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev and President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan met in Ankara for high-level talks on July 29th, where they co-chaired the fifth meeting of the Strategic Cooperation Council. The message: less talk, more action, and big numbers to back it up. Trade between the two countries reached $5 billion in 2024, but both leaders want more. President Erdoğan said, "We aim to boost our trade turnover to $15 billion. Tokayev responded with a clear offer. Kazakhstan is ready to supply 34 categories of goods worth $1 billion to the Turkish market. And it's not just talk. Over 4,000 Turkish companies are already operating in Kazakhstan, investing in energy, construction, agriculture, infrastructure, medicine, and tourism. The total value, $6 billion. Meanwhile, Kazakh investments in Turkey have exceeded $2.5 billion. Tokayev signed an agreement with Tiryaki Holding worth $294 million to build deep processing facilities for wheat, legumes, and oilseeds. The project will roll out in 2 stages. President Tokayev also stressed the need for smarter logistics, calling for Turkish investment in the Trans-Caspian International Transport Route. Around 85% of overland trade between Europe and China passes through Kazakhstan, he said. We're modernizing railways, building new roads, and upgrading Caspian seaports. We're ready to offer preferential terms to Turkish entrepreneurs. In a major logistics development, Kazpost and Turkey's SS System Logistic are building a new transport and logistic hub at Aktobe Airport, set to launch in 2026. Samruk-Kazyna CEO Nurlan Zhakupov said, "This project will unlock Kazakhstan's transit potential and deepen business ties." Agriculture also featured heavily. Turkey imports a quarter of Kazakhstan's grain, a third of its cotton, and 26% of its gluten. Right now, 23 joint agricultural projects worth $1.3 billion are in development, with 18 already operational. Tokayev also met with top Turkish investors. YDA Holding will expand medical facilities in Turkestan, Astana, and Petropavl and build a multimodal transit hub in Aktau. Orzaks Group plans a $40 million dietary supplement factory in Kazakhstan, creating 500 new jobs. Education and soft power were also on the agenda. 2 Marie Foundation schools will open in Astana and Almaty, and Turkish universities plan to launch campuses in Kazakhstan. To support tourism and business, Kazakhstan introduced a 90-day visa-free regime for Turkish citizens. On foreign policy, Tokayev praised Erdogan's efforts in the Russia-Ukraine conflict and reiterated Kazakhstan's call for UN reform. "We highly value our cooperation within the Organization of Turkic States and support the territorial integrity of all nations," he said. President Erdoğan called Kazakhstan second homeland and congratulated the country on the 180th anniversary of poet Abay Kunanbayulu. He said, "We are committed to deepening our partnership across trade, defense, agriculture, tourism, and culture." The two leaders signed 18 intergovernmental and interagency agreements, plus a joint declaration outlining future cooperation. Big news for Kazakhstan and the region. Almaty is becoming the new home for a major United Nations presence. On August 3rd, President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev and UN Secretary-General António Guterres signed a host country agreement to establish the UN Regional Center for Sustainable Development Goals, the first in Central Asia, and designed to serve Afghanistan as well. President Tokayev called it a historic moment for regional cooperation. "This is not just a diplomatic achievement, it's a practical step forward. The center will complement existing institutions, not duplicate them, and will be focused on real outcomes for real people." The agreement comes just weeks before the 80th session of the UN General Assembly, yet Guterres made Kazakhstan a priority stop. According to a video released by Akorda, Guterres said,
"Kazakhstan is a symbol of peace, is a symbol of dialogue. It's a bridge builder, an honest broker in many circumstances, starting by your historic decision to abandon nuclear weapons a few decades ago. That was a remarkable example to the world. And when people talk about the clash of civilizations, the truth is that Kazakhstan has demonstrated through Kazakhstan itself, but especially through all your initiatives, that there is scope for dialogue and cooperation of people of different religions, of people of different cultures. And you have always been a center spreading this message of bringing people together.
Tokayev used the occasion to outline a bigger vision, one that tackles regional challenges head-on. He pledged stronger cooperation on environmental threats like the shrinking Caspian Sea and RLC degradation, and announced that Kazakhstan will host a regional environment summit in April 2026 in Astana in partnership with UN agencies. He also reaffirmed Kazakhstan's commitment to Afghanistan through humanitarian aid, food security, and education initiatives. Looking ahead, Tokayev placed big emphasis on digitalization, AI, and building transport corridors to position Kazakhstan as a Eurasian logistics hub. Guterres backed the vision, saying Kazakhstan is no longer landlocked. In his words, Kazakhstan is a bridge between East and West, the North and South. He went further, calling Kazakhstan a symbol of wisdom, a messenger of peace, and a voice of reason in a world where reason itself is struggling to be heard. Kazakhstan is calling for both regional cooperation and a mindset shift for the world's landlocked nations. Speaking at the third UN Conference on Landlocked Developing Countries in Almaty, Turkmenistan, on August 5th, President Tokayev urged the global community to rethink how it engages with the 32 landlocked developing countries, home to over 500 million people. Tokayev didn't sugarcoat the challenges: limited access to regional transport links, high trade costs, geopolitical tensions, sanctions, and supply chain disruptions. All of this adds poverty and limits competitiveness, he said. But LLDCs must be seen as equal and promising partners in shaping global solutions. He emphasized that Kazakhstan hosted the very first UN conference on LLDCs back in 2003, which led to the Almaty Program of Action. Now, he says, it's time to take the next step through the new Awaza program. Tokayev highlighted Kazakhstan's long-term goal of building a fully integrated network of rail, road, air, and logistics hubs, particularly along the North-South corridor and the Middle corridor, positioning the country as the Eurasian transit hub for 85% of overland trade between Asia and Europe. Digital transformation is also key. We've launched a national air center, Alem AI, and a supercomputer in Astana, he said, calling for global scientific partnerships. On climate change, Tokayev warned of desertification, glacier loss, and water scarcity across LODCs. He invited leaders to the Regional Climate Summit in Astana next April, co-hosted with the UN. He closed with a powerful message.
Geography does not define destiny. We are moving from the landlocked to the landlinked.
Kazakhstan held a ceremonial start of preliminary activities for the nuclear power plant project on August 8 near the village of Ulken in the Zhambyl district of Almaty region. The event included official remarks and the start of drilling operations for soil sampling, followed by the symbolic handover of a capsule to the Russian site for further analysis. It is reported that Kazakh officials held open and constructive negotiations with top global reactor manufacturers and visited their facilities. As a result, Rosatom, China National Nuclear Corporation, Electricity de France, and Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power were shortlisted as potential suppliers. In June, Russia's Rosatom was announced to lead an international consortium to build the plant. Kazakhstan's Atomic Energy Agency chairman Almasadam Satkaliyev confirmed that Kazakhstan will remain the sole owner, operator, and producer of uranium fuel, retaining full control over all technological processes. The move follows a national referendum in October 2024 in which Kazakh citizens voted in favor of building a nuclear power plant. As the world's top uranium producer, Kazakhstan is now taking the next step.